What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. I'm super pumped to introduce my next guest to you today. He is an author, an international business owner, and entrepreneur, alternative medicine practitioner, spiritual alchemist, and shamanic doctor. This man is truly a visionary leader and is the founder and owner of Personalized Life Solutions, where self-care is the new lifestyle. He hosted a weekly radio show for over 4.5 years, and he's passionate about helping entrepreneurs and business owners to embrace self-care, which is a lifestyle choice of accepting responsibility to combat the stressors you face in daily life and in the process of working with others to create the quality of life that you deserve. So please welcome to the show, Fuzzy Manning.
Thank you very much, Corey. Glad to be here, and just always glad to be interacting with other entrepreneurs who want to make a difference.
Absolutely, man. And thank you so much for showing up today and taking some time out to, hopefully share your stories and your experience with us. We're all on this big journey of entrepreneurship together in a way. And, if we can share our experiences with each other, I think it's helpful. As I was mentioning to you before we jumped on the call, a podcast is what I attribute, my entrepreneurial journey to, and really seeing life in terms of opportunity as opposed to, there not being enough there for everyone. So I really appreciate you having you on the show. And, as I do with all of my guests, I did a little bit of background research on you before we jumped on here. And I actually saw a video that you made where you spoke about like walking outside your house that day and not really having any expectation for what was going to happen, and amazing things happened. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that and what happens when you let go of expectations.
Yeah, great question, Corey. In a sense of, it's letting go of expectations. If I let go, then I'm open to no emotion or emotionality tied to what I'm giving or what I will receive. I'm open to whatever's going to happen, was meant to be, and also, too, is that I don't tie any attachment to that other person's reaction or inaction. They can take the gift, go home and put it in the closet, give it away, run over it in the driveway, whatever they want to do. It's realizing that I know why I gave it.
Yeah.
And it's being more open in a sense of that we have to be givers and joyfully giving. It's not the end results that we're looking for.
Yeah, I really love that, man. And I really appreciate that, you talk on that subject. And I wanted to bring it up because I believe the same, that when we relinquish the expectation of getting something in return for whatever it is we're doing, then we can do more joyfully, we can act and be more loving in our way. And, it's interesting how it really relates to business as well. I mean, I always talk about this and how we should approach business really customer first, right? What problem are we trying to solve for our customer? How can we make their life better? And it seems like a lot of entrepreneurs these days are really just driven by the money and, what they're going to get out of the transaction, whatever it may be. So I just wanted to bring that up because, again, this expectation of getting something in return is like, it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot before you even start,
Oh, yeah. I love that concept. I love where this discussion's going, Corey. In a sense, you're solving an initial problem for your customer, your client, which opens up another question, another opportunity to solve, another one. It's really, how am I willing to look at this first engagement is going to open up some questions and concerns. It's just going to lead to it. I can't be just concerned about, helping someone lose weight. Well, what's it going to provide? Is it going to provide more freedom for you to take trips with your grandchildren? So wherever that's going, I'm willing to follow that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, tell us a little bit about how you got started in business and being an entrepreneur yourself.
Basically, how I got started in business, I started looking at what was going on in my life. I got home from Vietnam, had post-traumatic stress. Within a week, I had a traumatic brain injury. So the VA was only going to give me bag A or bag B of drugs, neither. So I went back to India and Thailand, Vietnam, and started interacting with Eastern philosophy, Eastern medicine, Ayurveda, Chinese, and indigenous medicine. They look at cause, what's happening to the body, not just the symptoms. And I started to realize that any shock or trauma to the body is like a spider crack. It goes throughout the body and it affects every organ and it affects everything that's going on for quite a long time. So I like that concept. So I got involved in taking classes, getting involved in interacting with people and looking at problems different. I connected with an agency out of Frankfurt, Germany, ABB. They were dealing with huge problems in businesses. Any problem in business is a people-oriented problem. It's not equipment, it's not anything else other than people. So I got involved in that for about 12 years and started realizing how do I help people with problems that they're dealing with. If you can detach from that long enough to let go of the emotion or emotionality, you can look at it different. You can see it different. How you address the resolution, if you're able to let go of that end emotion, that I'm going to be blamed, shamed, or if this doesn't work, I'm going to be fired. If you can let go of that and also have other people work with you, you're more apt to achieve your end goal, your team's goal, and really address what the core issue is.
Yeah, totally. That's interesting. And so what are some ways that people could, remove themselves from that emotionality? Because, I mean, it's one thing to say, it's another thing to do it. Like, we all are tied in some way to our results because clearly we have bills to pay, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things in life that we're always thinking about. So what are some ways that we could actually do that?
The ways to do it, if you're face to face, turn around, step back, have a break in that energy. Go get a drink of water, come back, 15, 10 minutes. It's just always problems look differently and with time.
Yeah.
It's also, too, it's relationships. If I have an issue or concern with a relationship, number one, I want to find out from the other person, what are you seeing and what are you feeling about it? Where are you at? This is where I'm at. There's no shame, blame, or guilt. It's just, for whatever reason, we've either approached something differently, want a different end result. There's a friction in between.
Right.
So it's realizing that, can we talk about it openly? Can we engage with it with a friendly conversation that we can agree to disagree?
And I think, okay, so a lot of that also comes with an element of transparency and honesty, right? I mean, and you have to be honest about yourself and who you are and what you think to be able to express yourself to someone truthfully. So I think that there's a good parallel there too with sort of building a business online, where in today's world, a lot of getting out there and sort of the marketing that we have to do is about publishing content and putting ourselves out there, right? So I feel like a lot of people deal with a element of fear when it comes to producing this content and putting themselves out there. It's like they sort of know that they need to do it, but they're afraid to be vulnerable and to actually be truthful online. Like, how do we get around that? Because I noticed, you put out a lot of videos, you put out a lot of content, and, I know that this is not something, you're from a different generation, right? So this is a new tool for you to use. Like, how did you get comfortable with it? And what are some tools that we could use to do that?
Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it. It's learning in a sense. What are people looking for? What are they after? What's the end goal that they're wanting? Or what's the initial one? Let's just deal with the initial one. Geez, I want to sleep better. I want better energy. I want better relationships. I want to be able to make more money. I want to be noticed more effectively in social media. I want. Okay, what is it that what do you put out there that you're having individuals attract to? What's this magnet? And I think a lot of it has got to do with verbiage. How can I hook my audience? How can I ask them a question that they're either willing to stop or at least think about? I want to engage them. I don't want to intimidate them or tell them anything.
Hmm.
Provide some information up front. This is what I'm seeing, or were you aware? So we have a tendency to tell people what to do, or in a sense, provide all the content and let them sift through it. That's why I like, in a sense of my business, is personalized life solutions. How can I help you see this question in a different light or in the way that you see it?
Right. That's interesting. So instead of telling somebody what the solution to their problem should be or is, right, it's more about presenting options. Like, if you're feeling this kind of a way, these are some things that I've noticed, or maybe from my personal experience, these are things I've gone through, lessons I've learned. Maybe it resonates with you. And if it does, then take advantage of the thing, right?
Yes.
So in your business, what is it actually, what service are you providing for people that decide, that they want to take on this initiative of creating a better life for themselves?
I think it's looking at, Corey, thank you for the question. It's looking at what is going on for you. In a sense, are you achieving the goals that you want in your life? A rich, joyful relationships, a fun job, kids, everything else. Do you go on vacations and you're more stressed when you come home than when you left? So it's looking at what are some of the things that you realize that you want: more comfort, more joy, more and just happiness in your life. What are you willing to do? Are you willing to get out of your comfort zone? And also, too, are you willing to be courageous to step out of your vulnerability? Because if I love, in a sense of a lot of individuals that work with military, in a sense of, I cannot think, Brene Brown has in her quote, in a sense of vulnerability is their inability or having the courage to do or say what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So all of us live in that vulnerability space. If we're all living there, okay, I want to change it. I want to be different. I have to be courageous enough to realize that the first couple attempts or what I'm going to go toward are going to probably be mistakes or errors. But if I don't start that action, I'm probably going to dislike myself more for not even trying.
Yeah, that's really good. And I mean, it's true, because when you think about it, it's like you have two options, right? You don't like your current situation, so you have two options. You can either do something, try something new to hopefully get a new result, or you can not do anything, aka continue doing the same thing. And when you extrapolate it out and think 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead, like, what does my life look like when I don't change anything and I just continue on the track I'm on? Right? That's go 20 years out and look at that, and then think about, okay, what are some action steps I could take today to at least just try to shake things up, right? And then it's funny how action leads to more action, leads to more action. And like you said, I mean, you have to understand too, when you're first starting any new journey, like, the first couple of steps you're going to take you're more likely to stumble, right? I mean, that's just the nature of it, and we have to push through those failures in order to get to the other side where we've learned the lesson and now we have experience based on that, And so what is some advice that you could give to some people that, they see the steps, right? And they can kind of see this opportunity starting to open in front of them, but they're just afraid to step into it.
Yeah, it's a great question, Corey. What I do is work with business owners and entrepreneurs, helping them to realize the opportunity that you're wanting is then the other side of that failure, that mistake. that opens up the door. If you have a mistake or an error or misthought, whatever is happening to you, so it knocks you down. What you want to realize while you're down, why am I here? Is it either you didn't listen, you weren't open-minded enough, or that you did not focus on a bigger picture? So when you get back up, you have some idea maybe why you're there and maybe why you need to learn that lesson. That opportunity was not there until you made the mistake.
Mm, that's interesting. So it's almost like that failure, in a way is part of your growth, right? And it's
Yes.
part of getting to where you want to go. So if anything, we should be seeking failure, in a way that it's a lesson that we'll learn, not necessarily that we
Yes.
just fail at everything, but every failure comes with experience and lessons, and you have to be aware, right? I mean, you have to have that awareness to be able to look at it and try to pull something from it instead of, have it affect you as a negative thing in your life. So that's interesting. All right. Well, how has let's transition into the next topic, which is
Okay.
like digital world we live in, and I'm wondering how has this helped you or impacted your business, and is there anything currently that you're excited about in terms of digital media?
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Corey. I think digital media has tremendous opportunities and options. We have to start looking at, in a sense of, it's overwhelming as far as podcasts, videos, and everything else. There are probably 15 to 20 million a day that are out there. So it's overwhelming. How do you find your niche is really important, and who you need to get in front of. I've always heard it said that what you want to do is maybe pursue those individuals that have gone before you, those individuals that may be in personal development or in health, maybe law or whatever else, those individuals that are successful. How can you maybe coattail in that arena? How can you be seen with individuals that are already open-minded, want this information, and also want something that may be a little different? It's really realizing that it's not better, it's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's difficult because they're already seeking. If you just throw something out to the masses, you may get maybe 1 or 2%. So it's kind of finding what you're trying to find is this niche that you want to pursue, and start getting in front of them, friending individuals, making comments on posts, getting in and either maybe putting a separate post by yourself, and just don't spam. It's realizing that they're seeking the answer that you have.
Yeah. 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 It's really neat how, like you said, just getting in and engaging in different areas of digital space can really open up opportunities for you. I mean, for instance, just one post that I made in one of the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, which I believe is how we connected,
Yeah.
ended up landing me like 15 new interviews for this podcast.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous.
It was because I went in there, and I've been part of this group for a long time, but I always try to go in there and at least provide value, whether if it's through a post or a comment, or if somebody's asking a question, I'll try to come in and answer if I have that knowledge. And then when it comes time to ask, I just simply made the request, and before you know it, it's like my business calendar is filling up, and so that can happen with anything, and it doesn't matter what it is you sell or what your service is, or whatever solution it is you're providing. That's the beautiful thing about the digital world, is it's allowed us a way to connect so that people with like interests can find each other, whereas before you had to be part of some group or club or something in your school, and you maybe had like 2 or 3 other people that were into the same thing. Now we can band together on a much larger scale and actually provide those solutions, sort of in bulk, which is nice.
Yes, and it's nice in a sense to engage with people with social media, realizing that I need to establish, in a sense, this relationship, this engagement with no expectation. And it's stepping outside. Yes, I may have something that benefit you, your health, your family, or whatever. It doesn't matter until we get to a certain point where I find out enough information about you, you find enough information about me, that we can open up that dialogue. For us just to jump in, hey, I got the best widget.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fly in the sense that you basically just nullified that relationship.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm glad you brought that up because, it hasn't changed in that regard, right? Business is still the same in the sense where you need to cultivate that relationship with your customer before you can pitch them something. And, that's a great point because a lot of people, a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs that are especially getting started these days, I don't know if it's like a lack of business ethics, I guess. Like for some reason they think that they can come out and just start, pitching their stuff right off the gate. I mean, I don't know. I guess if it's a numbers game, at some point you will see success. But as far as long-term, success and scalability goes, that's just not going to work,
And I think a lot of people don't look at it in a sense, if I don't engage properly with you or whoever, in a sense, I've cut off all opportunities for an additional resource that you may have, you may provide me, or an other individual that may need my service or product. So I basically just nullified that right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, cool, man. Well, this is great. Let's go ahead and transition again. I got one more topic I want to talk to you about, which is this whole work-life balance and this idea of, running a business while also living a life that is fulfilling to you. So what are some strategies that you use in your life to manage everything?
I think it's just an awareness. And it's like work-life balance. There's a certain level of stress with work, and there's a certain level of stress at home. Realizing that you can set up a physical activity or engagement. You can put a trash can by the front door that you dump all that stress before you walk through that door at home. Or that you realize on the way home that you get rid of it. You just open up the windows and throw it out, whatever. It's also realizing that if you're approaching someone at home or someone with business, they're dealing with either the same amount of stress that you are or more or less. Treat them with respect and honor where they're at. Do not assume anything. Well, I can talk about this. Maybe not. Engage in it. I got this great idea. Is this a good time? Or would you like to? So what you're always doing, you're engaging, you're finding out in a sense, where is their stress level? In a sense, are they willing to engage or not? Or in a sense, also too, is where is their awareness that their personal time. There's personal time at work, there's personal time at home. Where am I maybe infringing on that? So it's just relatively awareness of what's going on. Continually ask questions, find out. Never assume, and realize that somebody's body language is going to probably tell you way more than the voice.
Yeah, that's true. And you said a couple of things really that they make me smile, man, because I've heard this stuff before, and I know it to be true, and to hear you validate it is really is really nice. But like you said, don't make assumptions. That's really kind of the first key to happiness in a way, right? Because, and again, it ties into that whole expectation thing. But when you assume that somebody is either feeling a certain way or not feeling a certain way, or is going to say something or not say something, or is going to react, to something that you say, like setting up that assumption ahead of time is already, creating an environment for failure, because regardless, it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go, right? That's just the nature of life. Like things happen that we can't predict. And so once we make that assumption, we're already kind of deciding it's going to be a certain way. So when it does fluctuate, we get thrown off. I also love what you said about giving people the space to sort of, I guess, figure out where they're at before you come at them with your drama, right? And it's funny. I always tell my mom this actually quite often, and anybody else that I talk to that's having this problem. But like when let's say you're in traffic, right, and somebody cuts you off, and it's oh, it's, screw that guy, or you go into the store and like the cashier is rude to you, and it's like, oh, she was, she's not a very nice person or whatever. Like, you have to understand that everyone has their life, right? And everybody has their own things that they're dealing with. And you don't know if, her husband just dumped her, or if, the guy that cut you off is racing to go to the hospital to meet, his loved one that's waiting for him. Like, you have no idea what's happening in other people's lives. So, you just have to let them be them and not allow it to affect you, right? And that comes like from sort of just understanding that we all have our baggage and our drama. And like you said, if we can learn how to drop ours, and I really love that exercise of putting a trash can by the door and thinking like, okay, physically releasing my stress and my drama from work, and now I'm home, and now this is a new time and it's a new experience, that's really beautiful. I like looking at it that way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks. And then I always tell people, don't go sneak out later on, go take it out.
Yeah, right. Once it's in there, it stays in there.
Yeah. And there's a concept that's really basic. It's, do we respond or do we react?
Yeah.
We're reacting in traffic in the sense that energy that goes through us, that emotion, if we hold on to it, we want to prove something. They don't know who we are, or they almost killed us. And we got this agenda going on versus just counting to 10 or counting to 5. Now I can respond to it. I'm still alive. They're still alive. No fender benders. Either they didn't see me, whatever happened. But it's realizing that I want to try and respond. I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to shame and blame them. I don't want to get into that game.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that's another good tool, is to just, count to 5 or count to 10.
Yeah.
When, like, right when you feel like you're about to react, right? Instead, take a moment and allow yourself to respond. And it really is a good distinction, because the reaction is like instinctual. If the what is it? The deer sees the lion, it runs. Like, that's instinct, reacting to that situation. But we as humans have the ability to think for ourselves and to make decisions and choices. So we should be, utilizing that ability and responding to the event as opposed to reacting to it. And, it's true. I mean, anytime I'm cut off in traffic, obviously there's been times where I've lost my temper, but for the most part, like, I try to sit back and think, like, thankfully nothing happened to me. Like you said, there was no fender bender. I'm still here, and I wish them the best. Like, whatever they're doing, whatever reason they're speeding, whatever it is that's got them in such a hurry, I sure hope that they're safe and they get to where they're going. And then from there, it's like, I feel blessed that experience happened to me. Because it gave me an opportunity to be, to be grateful and to feel loved. And I think I try to think in those terms now. It doesn't always work, but it definitely is better than always being pissed off.
Yeah. And what happens, Corey, is we end up taking that reaction to every relationship after that, every engagement, every activity, anything that we're going to do, in a sense, the longer we hold on to it, the tougher it is to let go of. It becomes heavier. There's more weight. It's almost like we're carrying extra weight around us, and we're angry at us because we're carrying that weight.
Yeah, that's profound. That's interesting. And, honestly, I feel like, Fuzzy, I could talk to you all day about this. I feel like literally, I feel like we're just starting to get into it,
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this show is supposed to be 30 minutes. So
Alrighty.
I'm going to ask you another question, which I ask all my guests, which I feel like you're going to have a great answer to. But, with all the experience that you have right now and everything that you've done in your life, what is some advice that you would give yourself, maybe 5 or 10 years ago?
5 or 10 years ago is really practice what I say. Be more responsible, more respectful. I have to start realizing that everybody sees everything differently, experiences everything differently. I can be standing in front of the same window and there's 100 people. Everybody sees something different. I have to be open to that and realizing it impacted them differently. So it's stepping away and asking a question first rather than assuming.
Mm.
What did you see or what did you experience? Versus, well, that was silly. It may not have been.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great, man. Well, great piece of advice. And everybody listening, I really hope that, I hope you were taking notes. I hope that you were paying attention, because we really covered some ground here, I think, in terms of personal development and really just like understanding how to approach situations and experiences that happen to you, to be able to pull the lessons from them and see the opportunity in everything that you do. So Fuzzy, I really appreciate
it. Thank you.
Tell everybody, where they can find you and what you got going on in your world today.
You can find me at fuzzymanning.com. And I've got interesting Facebook information and resources. I've got all kinds of other data out there. I've got a business, personalized life solutions. I love interacting with people that have a burning desire to do something profound.
Awesome, man. I love that. There you have it, guys. Check out Fuzzy. I'll link all that stuff down below in the show notes for sure, so you can click on any of that and get in touch with him. Make sure that you follow his journey, you follow what he's doing, and absorb the knowledge that he's putting out there, because truly, I can tell that you're a genuine person, man. And again, you've got a way of being and of looking at the world that I think a lot of people could find valuable if they modeled that. So definitely, guys, go check out Fuzzy, see what he's doing. And again, man, I appreciate your time today here. And I guess we'll get to the next one.
Thank you.